कृपया ध्यान दीजिए।
レムって誰のことです？レムに妹なんていないわ。レム。
REM is back. 10 years. 10 years of waiting, and somehow we didn't even get a reunion because REM didn't wake up to comfort Subaru. She woke up and told him to stand up. And honestly, that's what I think made REM's return so good. What I think most of us expected was, some kind of big reunion where, they kind of defeat some kind of big enemy and, REM's memories get cured. That didn't happen. REM came at the most desperate times and gave Subaru the pushback he needed. She came all buffed up for the first time in 10 years. There was no dramatic scene, no crying, no Subaru Kyun. She just told Subaru to get the fuck up because there's work to be done and stuff to be done and stuff to be fixed and peoples to be saved. And that's what I find really interesting because REM could have stayed there. She could have consoled Subaru. She could have told him nicely. She could have told him to take it easy. But I think REM also knew instinctively after the season on episode 18, after Subaru telling him that you don't know what I'm going through, and REM subconsciously knows that Subaru is going through something really, really hard and difficult. He had to die multiple times in order to complete the task, in order to save everyone, in order to save himself, in order to save the strangest closest to him. And I don't think this is REM being cold. She knows Subaru. She knows that if he stays here, everyone else is gonna die. And instead of putting her own feelings first, she puts Subaru's responsibility first. That's what I like about this anime. It's just so well written. No one is going to argue about who is better, Emilia or REM, because both are just perfect. And REM's return would have been a lot less interesting if it would have been just 10 minutes of hugging and crying. Instead, she wakes up and instantly becomes part of the problem Subaru is trying to solve. She helps Subaru get up and be like, you don't stay here, you go and solve the problem. And this brings us to something much more confusing. While REM came back, Subaru's memory situation is becoming much more insane. How did reading Raid's book of memories put him in front of Rui Arneb? How is this possible? And a lot of the mysteries that we were holding previously, who killed Meili, who possessed Subaru's body, now I think we can answer them. It was Rui Arneb, especially after the recent episode. The scene in which she said, we require you to have completely different personalities. You to think that the previous version was someone else in order to eat the current memories of you. When all those text on his hand on the walls was written, she made it to convince him that Natsuki Subaru was a completely different person, the previous one. And it made me even think that someone else possessed his body and he was using the name of Natsuki Subaru. And Subaru is a weeb like us who reads manga, so it is quite possible for him to think that he possessed the body of someone else, because in isekai it's a really common plot in which the main character, whoever gets reincarnated, possesses the body of someone else. Most of the cases it's someone who is probably already died on, but in some cases it isn't. They just fell unconscious and the owner of the body changed. So it is quite possible for Subaru to think that the owner of this body, Natsuki Subaru, was a completely different person, and Rui Arneb was a culprit who made Subaru think this in order to eat his memories again and again and again. And her goal in this is to just keep eating his memories and keep him trapped in this tower forever, because Natsuki Subaru is quite unique, and he has returned by death, so his memories are unique. What Rui Arneb wants to feast on this is she's so bad. With that said, guys, I'm going to end this video, and if you like the video, you can like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next ReZero video.